hear what he has to talk about tonight. And Matt, I'm going to give you the mic so we can do a quick mic check, and then we'll let you share your screen. All right, so you should be able to make you an organizer too so you can see the questions. Okay, I see your website now. And if you could give me a mic check.
I got you loud and clear, Jeanette. How about me?
Perfect. I got you. All right. Can everybody see his screen okay? Hear him okay? Sounds good to me. All right. We see your PowerPoint. Looks like we're getting some yeses from all around the world. All right. So I'm going to mute my mic. And Mr. Buckley, you have 1 hour.
Thanks, Jeanette. I appreciate it, and looking forward to working with you. I know we've been virtual strategic partners, so really looking forward to working with it and having the opportunity to speak to a lot of, it appears to be savvy and smart retail investors and traders. Enjoyed listening to Amar's presentation and actually learned a little bit from him as well. Today's brief, I'm going to give you, well, first of all, the word's long, not the word's brief, not long, right? So have about an hour, so it's going to be a little fast and furious, a little supersonic, so you can get to know me, what we do here at Top Gun Options. I'm going to talk about our portfolio performance year to date. Really don't like leading with that because it should be about the process, right? Not necessarily about just numbers, but how do you put up those type of numbers? But I'm going to show you how we put up those numbers because I'm going to talk about our trading and training methodology. Ladies and gentlemen, if you learn nothing tonight, well, you're going to learn a lot of things, but if you learn nothing, one of the things you're going to learn is that there's no such thing as financial education, period. There's financial training. Fighter pilots are trained. Doctors are trained. Plumbers are trained. Traders are trained. The world's full of educated derelicts, to steal part of a Calvin Coolidge quote. So our training methodology, our 7-step proprietary trade plan, and then we're going to get airborne, actually pull up a trading screen, and we are going to put on an actionable trade. I'm going to add it to one of my model portfolios, and I'm going to manage that for maximum profit or eject for a minimum loss. And then if we have some time at the end, I'll take some questions. I'll try and take questions as we go. If you have any questions, concerns, by the ways, or smart remarks, or actually you can keep the smart remarks to yourself. So I'm going to talk about full throttle tonight. What is full throttle? It's right there. That's Mac's Afterburner on the USS Theodore Roosevelt during a night catapult shot, which is absolutely terrifying. Going from 0 to about 200 miles an hour, getting shot into something that's as dark as a basketball. I want to talk about potentially taking your portfolio, your investing, your potential for making money in this volatile market full throttle, okay? Because at the end of the day, folks, when you think about it, trading is a form of combat, isn't it? There's a winner and there's a loser, and I plan on being on the right side of that trade. Who said that? Well, you. Hopefully by the end of my time tonight, you're going to realize that trading is a form of combat. And by using some of the methodologies that I'm going to teach you here at Top Gun Options, you're going to be on the right side of that trade. As Jeanette said, my name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and going forward, even if you don't join me here at TGO, you can still call me Wiz. Yeah, my parents did like me. I earned that call sign flying the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years. I was also a bad guy pilot, an adversary, right? The jets that I flew also painted like MiG-29s. Shockingly, we thought that Cold War was over and the Soviet Union was gone, right? Well, we're going to talk about tonight how that's not necessarily the case. So I was a bad guy pilot, and I also graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School that many of you know as Top Gun, and I flew 44 combat sorties over southern Iraq. Top Gun Options. How did it come about? Well, through a bunch of different sources. First of all, additionally to my managing Top Gun Options right now, I'm the Chief Development Officer of a hedge fund based up in the Great North Central, I guess, up in Chicago, and I'll be up there giving a speech on Tuesday. I also do business consulting. I go into companies from the Fortune 1 all the way down to mom and pop, quickie marts, so to speak. I was in Atlanta, Georgia yesterday working with the Fortune 8, 7, 9, McKesson. So Tom flew P-51s. Thank you for your service as well, brother. So I do business consulting as well. I go into companies and I apply the methodologies that I learned flying fighter aircraft, having a strategy, debriefing, contingency planning, ripping apart my plan with what we call a red team before I go out and execute. And I also wrote a book from sea level to sea level. Here's a sampling of companies that I've worked with over the years as a business consultant. Take a look at that. Financials, telecom, real estate, consumer electronics, everything, GE, healthcare, oil, technology, financial services. Okay, Wiz, pretty interesting. What the hell does this have to do with trading? Everything. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting your financial news from Comedy Central, CNBC, at Top Gun we call CNBC Comedy Central. If you're getting your financial news from Comedy Central, it's late. It's already old. It's past. That news already came out. The market already reacted to it. Some 28-year-old who's been working 30 hours a day at CNBC had to type something up, put it in teleprompter, so some debate moderator who did a horrible job last night gets to read it. Folks, I know what is going on in the economy with these companies, with sectors, before anybody else in the world. Period. Now, let me pay my attorneys, and I pay them a lot. Let me say this. I'm a fiduciary to some of these, not to some, to all of them. Any company I work with, first of all, I have a top secret clearance. You will never know anything about any one of these companies that I work with, ever. And I can't trade in these names. First of all, it's wrong. Second of all, it's illegal. Third of all, it's wrong. But guess what? This gives me what I call SA, situational awareness. I know what is going on in the economy and these sectors before you ever do. You will once you get to Top Gun Options. Okay? I've also worked with other high-performing teams, the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton, and Coach Rivera, and back with Coach Fish and Sam Bradford when he was up there. But, of course, there's only one true NFL team. You guys ready for it? It's the Philadelphia Eagles. EAGLES. Anybody out there? Okay, crickets to that one. So after I left, ladies and gentlemen, I taught myself how to trade equity options when I was on active duty. Okay, instead of sitting in the ready room reading a newspaper or playing foosball in between flights, I learned how to trade equity options over 20 years ago. Go Packers. Somebody kicked Gene out of the room. Who said go Cowboys? Phillips a Patriot. Oh, my God. This is a target-rich environment. Folks, I taught myself how to trade equity options when I was a young officer on active duty in the early 90s. There was no Top Gun options. Hell, there wasn't. Al Gore didn't even invent the internet yet. I had to literally go to the library and get a book on equity options, which was about as complicated as the flight control system of the F-18 Hornet. But eventually, in my business consulting, once I got off active duty, I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage options firms in the country, headquartered in the Chicago Board of Trade. See these big windows right here? Right at the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle? That's Peak 6 Investments. I went to Peak 6 Investments, and I became their managing director of strategy. So I went from being you, a retail trader, a retail investor, to essentially running one of the largest vol arb firms in the world. They trade equity options, folks. Google, Tesla, you name an equity option, they trade it. It was an absolute blast. About how long was I up there? About 4. No offense to anybody in Chicago, folks. You can keep the winters. I'm a beach guy. I'm a Navy guy. I need beach. So after doing that for about 4 years, it was time to move. And I got to be honest with you, I felt like Valentine in trading places. You know, I go from kind of being my own retail trader and doing all the things that I did in the military, flying a Hornet. This firm's like, you know what? Come here and do everything that you did and show us how to do it. It was awesome. I love it. It was awesome. I know Dan Sheridan very well. Great guy. So I went up there. I ran that firm essentially for a couple years. I also did the Options News Network. I was the founder and CEO of ONN TV, the Options News Network. It was a blast. It was essentially the CNBC for options. We'd film on the floor of the CBOE, the CBOT, and we give you all retail type of traders inside access as to what's going on. Hey, somebody just came in and bought 80,000 Heinz calls. The no 59s. Something's going on there. So It was a blast. I had a blast in Chicago, but I got to be honest with you, I'm a beach guy. Moved down to South Florida here in 2010 and did it on my own. I started Top Gun Options about 5 years ago. That's literally my most important job on God's green earth is being the father to 3 beautiful kids. So built Top Gun Options. Why? Because I didn't have one. I'm not a Wall Street guy, folks. I hated it. I felt like I needed to shower a couple times a day. It's gross. Those people would step over their own mother for $1. It's combat, folks. If you think they're going to be nice to you because you're wrong. So I put the ladder down. That's a term we use in the military. You don't pull the ladder up when you go up. You put it down. That's what Top Gun Options is all about. We've been in business for 5 years. We've literally trained, not educated, thousands of traders and investors over the past couple of years of all experience levels. If you're like some of my Marine buddies who can't even spell the word options, no offense to any Marines, or if you're trading broken wing butterflies with a reverse calendar twist, which I don't even know what that is, we train people of all experience levels. And everything you're going to hear about tonight, or if you join us here at Top Gun Options, was literally tested in combat situations and proven during my time on Wall Street. We do demo do. We have 4 live trading sessions a week, where you get to eavesdrop. You get to essentially look over my shoulder, my volatility arbitrage trader's shoulder, as we manage a model portfolio. That's how you learn. I'm going to demonstrate something to you. You're going to do it. I'm going to brief you how to do a loop. We're going to get airborne. I'm going to do a loop. Then I'm going to give you the controls, and you're going to do it. Demo do. That's how you learn. How are we doing so far year to date? Excuse me. Take a look at this. Data from about 1,800 hedge funds year to date through August. I got to get the September numbers. Look at that. 0.29%. It's like Mr. Blutarski's GPA in Animal House. That's embarrassing. Look at the best year recently for a hedge fund. Remember this, 11%. Don't think you need to pay a, quote, smart hedge fund guy 2 and 20 to make some serious returns. Look at this. And this is wrong. I needed to update this after the close, but I got busy. This portfolio, the primary live trade brief portfolio you're going to see tonight, is up 77% year to date. It's up about 32.5, I think. We'll see it in a couple minutes. Now, let me explain something to you. I use return on risk. Okay? Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure everybody can hear me. I want to make sure maybe every once in a while we're getting a, hey, I don't have any sound. Pam, I know Pam. We got some familiar faces. Okay, good. Everybody can hear me. Some other folks just can't. No worries. Ladies and gentlemen, our model portfolios are based on $100,000 model portfolios. Why $100,000? That's big. You know, some people have 10 grand, some people have 100, some people have 100 million. It's kind of right down the fairway. Okay. Now let's think about this. If I have a $100,000 portfolio and I have $40,000 working for me in stocks, bond, options, whatever, that's what I call at risk. If I have $60,000 sitting there doing nothing, it's not at risk. So if you return 32 grand on 42 grand at risk, that's the return. So if you want to be a stock type of thinker and go, all right, Wiz, well, it's a $100,000 model portfolio. I'm still up 32% year to date if you want to use those type of metrics. I don't as an options trader. Okay. Our urgent alert and weekly options model portfolio, 132% return on risk, over $40,000. And real quick, as I'm going through these slides, don't stare at the green. Do me a favor and stare at the red too. If you ever come to one of these sessions and the guy or the gal doesn't talk about losing trades, run as fast as you can. That's where we learn. In the military, we train. You fight like you train, and you train like you fight. We learn from our mistakes, man. Here's my worst performing portfolio, folks. You ready? It's our retirement portfolio. It should be, quote, unquote, the worst. Because it's not worst. Because it's a little longer term focused. It's more conservative. 25% return on risk year to date. Folks, I know hedge funds that if they were up 25% year to date, they would have closed or they would have stopped trading and all gone to the Hamptons and partied the rest of the year. I don't. I enjoy what I do. Look at the top hedge. You don't have to look at the bottom. Look at the top hedge funds year to date. 18%, 16%, My goodness. Even our accelerated retirement model portfolio is blowing away the smart money and the top 20 hedge funds. You can do this on your own, folks. It ain't rocket surgery. Now, again, we lose some battles. Training time out here. The objective is to what? We want to win the war. Whatever your war is, saving for college, saving for retirement, short-term income generation. Wiz, I want to buy a boat in a year. Got it. That's your war. We will lose some battles. Losing trades happen. I'm going to channel my inner Rumsfeld right now. There are unknown unknowns. What's that mean? Didn't like this guy a ton, but he was good in some areas. He said there are known knowns, right? There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. There are things we know we don't know. And then there are unknown unknowns. You ready for this? A month and a half ago, during our weekly options live trade brief, which is every Monday at 1. Wiz, I work every Monday at 1. So do 80% of our traders. We send out texts immediately in the live training session. It's recorded, and you get everything. So don't worry if you work. But anyway, I send out the text alert, trade the rest of the day. I go to the gym after the market closes. I'm on the treadmill, literally, and I'm watching Comedy Central for the entertainment value. After the close that day, Google announces it's now calling itself Alphabet, and the stock is up 4% after hours. I'm like, are you kidding me? So the initial reaction was a little bit of, I was upset, but then I laughed. My trade blew out the next day. I had $4,000 loss on Apple and the S&P 500. We made $6,000 the next week, but it doesn't matter. That week I got kicked in the gut. But those will happen, period. Know this, folks, if you do as much planning as you can before you get airborne in an F-18, you looked at you exhausted everything. Your plan is airtight. And then all of a sudden you look down airborne over Syria and there's a missile coming up at you because it was a mobile missile or nobody saw that. It's okay. That's your day, man. You do as best you can. But if you messed up, that missile was there and you just overlooked it and you were stupid, you deserve everything that's going to happen to you. That's kind of the morbid mindset we have in the military sometimes. But losses are going to happen, guys, period. So, Top Gun options, folks. We are not Comedy Central. I actually have a lot of my subscribers who are like, not only do I get my financial news from you, I get my regular news. Because why? I'm going to brief you in a couple minutes. And again, it's not Hammer CNBC. And I a buddy of mine up in Chicago told me, he's like, come on, man. Anybody who takes stock advice from somebody with a cowbell and an air horn deserves everything bad that's going to happen to him. Okay, so here's our methodology, and hopefully you take some notes because it's going to be a little fast and furious. Our methodology is simple. Strategic, operational, tactical. What's that mean? Many average retail traders are very, very tactical. 2 years ago, I'll bet you none of us, I did, our TGO traders, could point out the island of Cyprus and why are the futures down 600 points. What about a year ago? Headline, when you wake up in the morning, Russia invades Crimea. The hell? I woke up thinking I was going to see a guy talking about Tesla on CNBC, and I was going to trade that, even though I don't know what the hell it is. You're very tactical. We're not that way here at TGO. I'm going to give you a strategic brief during every live trading session. Here's what's going on geopolitically, macroeconomically, militarily. The Middle East is coming completely unglued, folks. But I'm going to tell you the market only cares when it cares. And when it cares, it's bad. I'm hedged against all these events because I know it's a bad world out there. You watch CNBC today, it's a bunch of cheerleaders. Everything's great. Until the next day, they're like, oh my God, end of the world. Then I can get operational after we do our strategic brief. What's operational mean, Wiz? Domestic. What's up with the Fed? How are earnings looking? GDP numbers, core durable goods. How's housing? What's the Atlanta Fed have to say? We get operational. Now, folks, you can see, you know what, Wiz, this is making sense. Now I can do what? Now we can take a look at trades. Now we can get tactical. Strategic, operational, tactical, SOT. Let me give you a difference. Pretty clear. Up at the top of that pyramid. Win the war against ISIL. Got it. Strategic. Tactic. Let's go rescue these 70 hostages in this town that are being held and they're about to get their heads cut off. And we're going to endear ourselves to that local town and they're going to join our side. Tactical. Many of you are very, very tactical traders. You don't know why you are trading. I'm going to fix that. Folks, trading is a form of combat at the end of the day. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. And by using the methodologies I'm going to teach you at TGO, you're going to end up on the right side. Write this down. Take a screenshot. Do whatever you need to do, man. Pull out your cell phone and take a picture. Do that now, because I'm going to ripple through this. In a regular, I did another webinar about a couple hours ago. I was in there for an hour and a half. Usually our live training sessions are about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. The weekly options one is 30 minutes because it's very tactical. We're putting on a couple trades Monday and riding them in. We put 2 trades on this week. Monday, a bear call spread, made $1,400 in a couple hours. Closed it. Tuesday morning, bull put spread, same thing. We're out. We're out of our weekly options trades for the week. You guys still writing this down or taking pictures? Strategic mindset, target, commit criteria, tactic, tactical employment, mid-course guidance, exit plan. If you don't know what those mean, just hang out. And I'm going to eventually teach you them. Arthur, I'm recommending to our next president, Wiz, for Secretary of Defense. No joke. Please say you will break away from the ratio spreads for that. We need you, man. Thank you, Arthur. I gave a keynote about a year ago in South Florida, and Marco Rubio gave the keynote after me. And I got to eat lunch with the guy and kind of hang out with him. And I jokingly told him that. I'm like, hey, man, you need a Sec Def or Sec. I'll be Sec Nav. I wouldn't mind running the Navy. Okay, here we go. What does all of this mean? Well, many of you, this is worth the price of admission again. Many of you come to me when I'm out giving speeches. Hey, I'm a trader. I hear all the time I'm supposed to have a trade plan. What the hell does that mean? There it is. This is from Combat and Wall Street. What's your strategic mindset? Bearish, bullish, volatile, or neutral? The target is the stock, the ETF, the index. Commit criteria is literally 3 to 5 sentences. At a cocktail party, hey, Wiz, you trade? I trade. Great. I'm in this Apple trade. Why? I like Apple and I have Apple stuff. Fail. Epic fail. Give me 3 to 5 sentences as to why you are. Wiz, I'm actually long-term bullish on Apple because I think China turns around, and I think the Christmas or holiday, quote-unquote, sales cycle is going to help Apple, blah, 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 3 to 5 sentences done. I'm going to look at you and go, nice, I might get in that trade. If you fumble around for why you're in a trade, get out of it. Step 4 is the tactic. It's not a strategy, folks. Again, if you don't learn anything tonight, you're going to learn that you will never call an iron condor, buying puts, a ratio spread, whatever. There's no such thing as an option strategy. A strategy, again, is saving for retirement, college, short-term income generation, managing risk, buying a boat. A tactic, an iron condor, a bear call spread, those are tactics. Tactical employment. With an iron condor, we have 2 spreads. Here's how we're going to put those on. Sell this bear call spread, put on the bull put spread. That's the employment, how we're going to employ this trade. Mid-course guidance. I never dropped a bomb, folks, and closed my eyes and went, man, I hope this hits where it's supposed to. Bombs need mid-course guidance. Trades need mid-course guidance. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if it hits? What if it goes up in value and it hits this point? What am I going to do? Folks, we ask before we squeeze a trigger or put on a trade, what could go wrong? So when it goes wrong, look at the top of this slide. It says what? Discipline. There's no emotion. There should be 0 emotion in trading. When I hit my low fuel light comes on, I don't go, I think I can squeeze this out a little. I'm turning. I immediately turn. And then our exit plan. This is the Colin Powell doctrine, folks. When am I getting out of this trade? When am I declaring victory or declaring a little bit of a loss and getting out? So there's your 7-step trade plan. That was worth the price of admission. You want to be this guy. Well, you don't want to be this guy, but if you are this guy, you want to be him in that moment. Low altitude Canadian F-18 practicing for an air show. Engine quit. He made the decision. It was already made. He made that in the brief. If I'm at 200 feet, I lose an engine, I'm going to eject. If he had waited a second longer, he would have ejected straight into the ground. You make this decision before you get airborne on trading, folks, and you take the emotion out of it. Trading today's market, there's only two things we can be. Either offensive, you know what, man, this is volatile. I'm going to take shots of opportunity. That's our weekly options. I know, Wiz, I'm going to keep some powder dry, man. A little longer term. That's our retirement. And then we have a couple portfolios that are right in the middle there, okay? We're going to get airborne in a couple minutes here, but here's the acronym I want you to write down that drove the market this year. I predicted it back in January, and it's going to drive the market further. I guess we could make this an anagram and call it, what, Fear Bow or Reb Off. Let's stick with Barrow F. B, Brazil. We made great trades last year off the World Cup. It was awesome. Brazil, absolute train wreck. It was doing great, 2011, 12, 13, and rolled over. Brazil, it's one of the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Brazil, definitely going to be a driver and potential trades. I have trades on Brazil. E, Europe. Anybody remember what happened this summer? Hey, Greek debt crisis. Oh, my God, the world's going to end. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. They're out of they're staying. Our weekly options portfolio made 35 grand in a month and a half. That was like shooting fish in a barrel, folks. It was awesome. I didn't want that to end. I swear. A, Asia. Unless you've been living on the other side of Mars, Asia's driving the market here, folks. Why did we open down Monday? Well, China reported their GDP Sunday. That's exactly right, folks. That tsunami went right across the Pacific. Japan is the number one foreign holders of U.S. debt are who? China and Japan. And if they're going to roll over, folks, we're going to be their mattress. I'm very, very bullish long term on China. We'll talk about that. R, Russia. Holy crap, man. Welcome to the back of the Soviet Union. This guy, man, we're going to take a look at the RSX. Write that down. RSX, Romeo Sierra X-ray. You got to give the guy credit, man. When Obama fulfilled his, quote, campaign promise of pulling out of the Iraq and Afghanistan, when leaders leave, it creates a vacuum. Vacuum in today's world is usually filled by bad people. He told us he was leaving the Middle East so he could, quote, pivot to Asia. Anybody remember all this? This big strategy? Pivot to Asia? He didn't pivot. He stopped right here in the United States and dropped a whole boatload of Obamacare on us, which I'm going to tell you about in about 3 minutes, how it impacted our GDP. Oh, oil. Man, remember January, February, the volatility in the markets around oil? And those idiots on CNBC saying, oh, man, low gas prices. That's a tax cut. I remember one guy, they owe me a computer because I spit out my coffee. It's going to add 0.25 to 0.5% to the GDP, this low oil. Oh, my gosh, what a complete clown. Folks, I'm going to cover volatility in the oil market if we have time, and what's it going to do? Trust me, I've been to Midland, Texas. I've done one of the few $100,000 a year jobs in this country is being a roughneck on an oil rig. When 15,000 of those guys get fired in Midland, Texas, or down in Louisiana, or they don't build a new rig, or that it doesn't matter if you just save $25 at the pump. And first of all, you saved $25 at the pump, didn't you? I know nobody who looked at the gas thing and went, wow, I just made $25. I'm going to run into the Quickie Mart and buy some Slim Jims. Nobody does that. F, the Fed. My God, folks, the Fed's been powering this market for years. You couldn't fight $85 billion a month of Ben Bernanke. You can't fight near zero rate interest rates with Ms. Yellen. The market's going to grind a little higher, folks, until it doesn't. Okay, so Barrow F. That's my intro. 30 minutes. That's exactly what I want to do because we need to get into the market here. There's my trade. There was my cockpit, but let me take you into my trading cockpit. Let's get airborne. I use Options House, folks. It used to be Trade Monster. Amir was talking about the guys with the ponytails. John and Pete, good buddies of mine from my time up in Chicago. And this is the primary live trade brief model portfolio. Let me show you the reds first. There are losing trades. Oh my God, I've never heard of those. So yeah, so 32, over 32 grand. So that slide was wrong. And I'm only using about 42 grand. Okay, so there you go. You guys can do the math. I'm going to give you a quick SOT, strategic operational, and I want to focus on a trade and then maybe take some questions. Folks, the other day, we got Russian aircraft zipping over within a mile of the USS Ronald Reagan. They had to scramble 4 F-18s. We got Iran. They're going to send their fleet of warships to park off of our coast. We had the Chinese Navy yelling at one of our warships because we sailed close to an island they put in the middle of the Pacific. They went 600 miles away from China with a lot of sand, put it on an atoll, and said, "This is China." We've done nothing about it. Actually, we have done a lot about it. We've enabled all of this. This is going to blow up in our face, man. I have no time to talk about this, but know that I talk about these issues and we put on hedges. The chickens are coming home to roost. Over in China, President Xi, they just got done with a big economic powwow. I have no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, no doubt that that China is the world's #1 economic superpower. Whoa, hold on a second, Wiz. It's the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, that data is backward-looking. Data are backward-looking. What do you mean? We don't know that we're in a recession until economists say what? Well, the economy entered a recession 8 months ago. They don't say it's not current. So I guarantee you, Uncle Wiz's guarantee that China's overtaken us as the world's economic superpower. They just lifted their two-child policy in China. You got to be long-term bullish on China, folks. First of all, they're smart. They looked at our financial crisis. There will never, write this one down, there will never be a Bear Stearns or Lehman Brothers moment in China. Why? You won't know about it. There is no way they're going to let that happen publicly. They learned. They're here for thousands of. They have a 1,000-year type of strategy, folks. Us, we don't even know what we're doing for lunch tomorrow, or a debt ceiling. Okay, you got to be long-term bullish on China. I'll show you my positions and how you can get long-term bullish, but also be short-term neutral or bearish. I can show you a bipolar trade, and so am I, on China. I'm long-term bullish out to January of 2018, but I'm short-term neutral. Long call diagonal is what it's called. Sticking in Asia real quick. Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan. Governor Kuroda, which is their Janet Yellen, they own 52% of the Japanese ETF market. You want to talk about central banks, the PBOC? People's Bank of China had their 6th rate cut since November. Bank of Japan own half the ETFs. Central banks are propping this market up, folks, and it's going to end ugly. We got to talk about GDP. This is a national embarrassment. What was it today? 1.5%? Are you kidding me? You didn't see anybody on the White House lawn, did you? Talking about how good the economy was today? Just like you didn't see CNBC talking about how bad their moderators were last night. Does anybody want to guess? Gold star to whoever guesses this. Does anybody want to guess? Arthur, you can't answer it. Well, my TGO traders know the answer to this. If you're not a TGO subscriber, answer this. What was the #1 driver of our GDP in the third quarter? Somebody take a swing at it. Let me see your answers. Let me see. Jerry, defense. Oil, Wayne. George, dollar. Edith, oil. Simon, housing. Jem, healthcare. Don, pot. All right, Don. Consumption, Thomas. Inventories. Mike's going to keep quiet because he's a TGO trader. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all wrong. Healthcare. The #1 driver of Q3 spending was mandatory spending on Obamacare. Are you kidding me? Look at recreation. Folks, nobody's got money. Recreation services, food and beverages. Nobody's going out to dinner anymore. Are you kidding me? Edith, good. I like that answer. Edith said, well, you know what, Wiz? I try and forget that. We can't. The number one driver of Q3 GDP was Obamacare. And you know what the number one, it was tied essentially for Q2 GDP. It was Obamacare and defense spending. Well, hell, we got a war on terror going on, and you're being forced. If you think that's going to pull us out of this nightmare you're in, we're wrong. I don't think we have a December rate hike. I don't even think we come close to December. We just had a slew of bad macroeconomic data this week. It was just not good. And you know, it just sucks because I'm looking at my time here because I want to get to my trade and stuff like that. Folks, in my live trade brief, I do about it's about a 30-minute SOT. Now, obviously, I had to introduce myself. Who the hell is this guy, and why is his call sign Wiz? First of all, that's the 10-drink minimum. I only have one glass of cab here, so you're not going to find out how I earn my call sign. But all these needed to be talked about. Icon, we have a ton of positions in AIG. Thanks, Icon, for helping out our AIG position. But I want to talk about a trade here. Let's get to trading here. Hopefully, you're going to sign up, folks, so you can at least sign up for a month, so you can get you can listen to that SOT brief for a while. Let me start with it over here. Let me start with this chart, and then I'm going to switch charts here. So, and go back over there. 3-ish months ago, the world ended. No, it didn't. I'm still here. Well, look at this. What happened about 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago? This, ladies and gentlemen, right here is the world ending because of China imploding, isn't it? Everybody remember this? Wow. Yeah, man, I remember where I was. That was epic. That was brutal. Okay. KG, you don't know where you live, but restaurants are always full in Michigan. U.S. is doing much better than you think. Just look at market. It has been up since Obama took office. KG, I could not disagree with you more. Restaurants might be more crowded. Take a look at the prices. And not only that, why is are you going to say the market's up because of Obama? Ladies and gentlemen, the only reason this market is up is because of Ben Bernanke. Do you know how much more the market would be up if we didn't have mandatory spending on Obamacare or companies? Man, this is a big one. Folks, you know how many people I know that got laid off from 40-hour-a-week jobs because of Obamacare? They were booted down to 29 hours and had to go get part-time jobs? No, KG, you and I are going to have a big out trade, my friend. Yep. Exactly. So, all right, but I love getting red team, KG. So you and I, if you're up in Michigan, man, next time I'm speaking up there, I'm buying you the first round, and let's talk because I love policy discussions. Look at this implosion in the market. I call that a rip your face off implosion. Half of that rip your face off implosion is about this 1990-ish level. Okay, right here. I don't know why my lines aren't drawn here. So. And by the way, I live here in South Florida. The restaurants are full down here. So, all right, look at this. So we bounced off of this low. Let me get rid of this because it's like, so look at this. World ends and we bounce. This line right here is half the rip your face off implosion. We bounced and couldn't get above it. Bounced and got above it for a little bit. And then we got airborne here. Okay? Let me explain a couple things. This is what we call a dead cat bounce. And this right here, if my drawing wasn't lagging a little bit, there's a wedge right here. It's a triangle. This really tight wedge in here was a triangle, and after that triangle, we got a pop. Does anybody know what this triangle was right here, besides my TGO traders on here? This was the Fed meeting. This pop right here was post-Fed. Why? Because she didn't raise interest rates. And I told my traders, we got bearish right here. I'm not going to point right at the top. Anybody who tells you they got bearish here and bullish here is a liar. We got bearish around here because I said there's going to be this is a yay moment. Hey, she didn't raise rates. I said there's a boo moment, folks. Why? Because the market said, holy crap, the Fed's obviously more concerned about China and the global economy in the U.S. than we are, and we sold off hard. Now let me go back over to this chart. This is a double bottom. I mean, you can see this, like I said, I'm no technical analysis doctor, and, I don't play one on TV. And exactly, Vince, I was going to say that. That's a W bottom. Vince is a good technical. All right, come on, folks. Let me close my TradeMonster platform here because it's just hanging up a little bit. It's been open for a year. So, all right, here we go. So, look at double bottom, rip your face off rally. Look at this. This blue line, folks, is what is called the 50-day moving average. We went through it and gave some back. Why? Because that's a technical point. People go through a significant moving average like that, then take a breath. They look around and go, okay, we gonna hang? We gonna go higher? We gonna hang? We went higher. Okay, then we go higher. Then we went through last week the 200-day moving average, and then it did what? It rolled over and did the same thing. We gonna hang? We good? Is this good? Yeah, okay, I think it's good. And then we went up a little bit more. We are going to roll over a little bit again, in my opinion. Looking at earnings, Starbucks, LinkedIn, everything. Folks, we have two economies going on right now. There is literally two economies going on. There is the technology economy. Look at, come on, Wiz, Amazon, Facebook, Alphabet, Google, Galphabet, whatever you want to call it. Crushing it. Oh, yeah? Fastenal, 3M, Caterpillar. Folks, there's two economies. The manufacturing economy is not doing well at all. Technology, great. Last time, I'm looking at my S6 Galaxy right now. Guess what? You can, that's why. I'm looking at my S6 Galaxy, and for some reason, I can't eat it. I can't fly on it. I can't drive it. I can't live in it. Okay, so for everybody who's out there saying, hey, this economy is great, look at the part of the economy that builds stuff. Look at Caterpillar. Caterpillar came out with earnings and said, my God, the world's about to end. So it's very, very, so let me pull up our TradeMonster platform here because I don't want to run out of time. I want to get on the tactic that I'm going to get to. And again, my apologies because it's a little tight. And I love doing what I do. Hopefully my passion, my dad, rest his soul, he's like, Wiz, you never worked a day in your life, man. Well, he forgets that I worked my way through college, like cutting lawns, and I actually worked at it was called Little Champ in Florida. I worked at a Quickie Mart. But he means flying fighters or being, a trader or a consultant. I just love what I do. So I'm going to place a weekly options trade in my model portfolio. Some of you are not familiar with, weekly options, but we have weekly options. You can trade options out to Fridays. They just don't have to expire once a month. They can expire weekly. So I did a webinar earlier, and there's a lot of stuff behind this tactic, but I think we're going to roll over. And I did the math by looking at what is called the at-the-money straddle. Okay? And the at-the-money straddle is telling me the options market is pricing in a move. Let me show you here. Let me click Add Edit Legs. And I'm going to go down about $5. So here's the trade I want to show you. And I'm going to walk through it, and then I gotta take questions because I'm seeing a little question mark thing going like crazy here. I'm going to walk this down a little bit. The 2110, 2115. This is a little bit more aggressive trade than the 2115, 2120. That's $1.15. I talked about legging into an iron condor. I'm going to look, this is called a bear call spread. I want to sell 15 of next Friday, which is November 6th, 2115 calls. I showed you on the chart. I think we're out over our ski tips. I was on conference calls today with hedge. I have a lot. I got a big network, folks. Nobody's really a buyer at these markets. That rip your face off rally that we've seen for the past month, everybody's just kind of like shrugging their shoulders. I know we have zero interest rates, and we're quote climbing this wall of worry. But even that wall of worry, as you can see, we take breaks. I think we have a little bit of a break ahead of us, especially after the exhaustion of earnings season. So as a hedge, I'm going to buy 15 of the no 6, 21, 20 calls. Why? Well, first of all, if I didn't, I'd be naked. I never sell naked calls. And this is my hedge. So this blue line here is the S&P 500. I want it to stay below 21.15 by next Friday. This is called a credit spread as well. I'm bringing in a credit of $1.15. Okay? I'm going to go mid-market, and I'm going to pretend I'm a Catholic nun right now. I'm going to click Analyze, and your eyes are going to go one place and one place only. If they go anywhere else, I'm going to crack your knuckles. I want you to look at the unhappy face. You ready? Go. Unhappy face. Can you find it? Right there. Why, Wiz? I want to look. Don't ever look here first. Fighter pilots, traders, none of us ever look at, hey, we're going to win, and how much money can we make? You say, how can I get killed, or how much am I going to lose first? And if that isn't acceptable, don't do it. You never look here and go, wow, I want to make $1,700 by next week, Friday. With that type of mindset, you're going to get killed. Our max potential loss in this trade is $5,700. Our max potential profit is 17, with a 73% probability of that happening. 3 out of 4 times this trade is going to break even. Very, very happy with this trade. This is the more conservative trade. I was fumbling around a little. Me and my subscribers, this is a little bit more aggressive, but I'm going closer to at the money. Why? Again, look at Mr. Frowny Face, because I think we're rolling over next week. Now I'm risking $5,300 to make $2,200. The metrics are a little lower, 70%-ish. But of course, why 15 contracts and $5,000, Wiz? Well, guess what? At Top Gun Options, I have what I call trading SOP, standard operating procedures. I do not want to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade. Why? That's me. That's 5% of the model portfolio. That's my rule of engagement. I don't want to risk more than 5% of the model portfolio on any one trade. Okay? So I did this trade a little while ago, and you know what I did during my live trading session? I sent out a text alert right to my folks who couldn't attend. And I'm also, well, I did this a couple hours ago. I haven't had time to send out the email because I had to jump on here. I'm going to send out an email, too, with the screenshots. So let me go to Urgent Alert, SMS, and Email Archives. And let me show you. It's still on my cell phone, but there you go. At 5:44, Urgent Alert, new SPX bear call spread, 15 contracts, blah, 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 blah. And let me show you. There you go. This is what it looks like when I send out the screen. I take a screenshot of the trades as well, so you just don't get a text alert. You get what the trade looks like. And usually I send out a trade, the replay from the live trading session. Okay? So, and I'm seeing a lot of questions. That was fast and furious, but let me take some of these in a couple minutes here. So, this week alone, in 2 weekly options trades, we made $3,800. On Monday, like I told you, with the bad China GDP, we put on a bear call spread, like you just saw on the S&P 500. By Tuesday morning, it was up 80%, 85%. Closed it. Tuesday morning, in a live trading session, or Tuesday afternoon, sorry, we put on a bull put spread. Why? Because I was bull. I'm like, we're not selling off massively. I had a reason behind it. You can watch the replay. We put on a bull put spread. Market crushed it. Yesterday we closed it. Another 80, 90% profit. 2 days. $3,800, folks. 34% return on risk. With those 2 trades, we were risking about $5,500 in each trade. Okay? So, limited risk. Well, 11 grand's not, that's a big chunk of change. Well, guess what? That's why you trade 1 contract, 5 contracts, 100 contracts. I don't know. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your, that's if you're trading real capital, which you shouldn't unless you know what you're doing. You should be paper trading. Give it a shot with paper trading. John made 15 grand last month. Harry, I joined a month ago, and by increasing the number of contracts I traded, I was able to pay for the annual membership after my first trade. $3,800, folks, on 11 grand in risk. I know a lot of people who, if they could make 34% return on risk in every week, well, it's not going to happen, obviously. I'll take a couple of those. We do that a lot more than a couple. Tony signed up, made his money back within 6 weeks after signing up. Didn't even do a real trade for the first 3 weeks because I was scared and didn't fully understand the course yet. I wish Tony had, I'm not going to let him get away with scared. He was smart. Wasn't scared. He was smart. Hey, man, I'm going to keep my powder dry until I know what I'm doing. That's smart. Plus, I only started with less than $5 grand and could only trade about 25% of the trades. You are the high priestess of option educational excellence. Simply excellent. Full throttle trading. Simply priceless. Thanks, Wiz. This is one of my favorite ones. Thanks, Wiz. You're awesome and one of the very few really honest, conscientious people in the field. That one puts the biggest smile on my face. I'm an Options Weapons School member, and I've learned more in the last 2 months than in the last 30 years of doing it on my own. I will tell you that I have financial advisors. I have hedge fund managers. There's institutional money and people that subscribe to Top Gun Options. I'm not going to name them. Okay? Folks, trading is a form of combat. Hopefully you've recognized by the end of our webinar. Why? Well, in combat, unfortunately, we use the most precious capital there is, human. In trading, we use what? Physical capital. There's a lot of intense planning and intel gathering. I'm going to show you where and how I do it. We're going to trade tactics that support a strategy. We're going to manage risk. We're going to contingency plan. We're going to win. We're going to lose sometimes, but we're going to get out of that airplane before we fly right into that neighborhood. That's Libya, by the way. Here's what it is. Full throttle. I am going to take you full throttle. Now, if that sounds like, hey, man, I ain't ready to go fast, don't worry about it. We have the accelerated retirement portfolio. Wiz, I need to be in an ultralight right now. We got it. Wiz, I can go Mach 2 right now. I got it. How do we do that? Because you all debriefed us. We've done this full throttle thing over the years, and people, after we do a full throttle, I debrief, hey, what's working, what's not? How do I get better? How do we get better at TGO? Here's how it works. If you're an aggressive type of trader, we got it. Conservative, or if you want both. I want all of it, man. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, we have full throttle training going on every Wednesday night for an hour and a half, 2 hours. My partner, my vol arb trader, Doug Robertson, he runs a fund down here in South Florida and teaches with me as well. All these are recorded, so you don't think you missed anything. You can catch up on the couple sessions that have already happened. You're going to learn. You're going to learn all of this stuff. Doug does not leave that room until every question is answered. Don't tell him this. I come in sometimes, and I learn stuff from him. That would be embarrassing because he's an Army guy. Here's where I need you to go. TopGunOptions.com/FT30options. That's a mouthful. Well, no, it isn't. FT is full throttle. 30 is our month-to-month subscription, and it's options. Okay, I got that part. TopGunOptions.com/FT30options. Now, when you get there, you have to choose, you know what, Wiz? I want to be the offensive type of trader, man. You're going to get access to the training, the PLTB, we call that the primary live trade brief. We trade the front months and also all the way out to January of 2017, 2018. That's every Tuesday. The Urgent Alert trade service, I just showed you an Urgent Alert. And then you're going to get to trade with Doug on Thursdays. And you get me at Monday. So the offensive track is the fangs out type of trader. And I always want to have a presentation where a Navy F-18 is putting bullets into an Air Force jet. In training, not real. That's you. You got the fangs out. I am trading this market. I'm going to drive the fight. And trade with weekly options. You know what, man? That ain't me. I want to do everything you just talked about, but instead of doing weekly options, I want to do your accelerated retirement portfolio. Sweet. This is you. You're in an E2 Hawkeye looking 300, 400, 500 miles down range, man. A little bit more conservative, flying around in my prop plane. Well, guess what? If you want to do both, we got Max Afterburner. It's offensive and defensive, and it's a pretty damn good deal, as I'm going to show you. That's you, man. you are at max Afterburner, and I'm going to be your wingman. You got Doug and I. One of the great things about TGO is that we do have, it is like a squadron. We really support each other. Again, nearly 80% of y'all work. Everything's recorded. You get text alerts, email alerts, adjustments. We don't send out a trade and say, hey, good luck. We don't drop you in the middle of Afghanistan and say, hey, I'll talk to you guys later. You're also going to get access to our manuals, which are $250 right there. Our options pocket checklist, that's about $45 right there. So let's get airborne. Let me just show you the page real quick. Just so here's where it is. TopGunOptions.com/FT30options. There's the offensive track for $245 a month. The defensive track with the accelerated retirement is $195 a month, and then the max Afterburner, everything we do here at TGO is $295 a month. Now, it ain't rocket surgery, folks. If you would like to do an annual subscription, it's a heck of a lot cheaper. If you do month to month, damn credit card companies gouge me and stuff like that, and I'm not a charity. It's not the United Way of Whiz. Obviously, that gets passed on you. It is cheaper to do an annual subscription. I will be totally honest with you. But if you want to, Wiz, this sounds great. I'm very interested in it. Do it for a month or a couple months. And then you can always upgrade to an annual. And even if we have a price increase during that time, I'll honor that initial one. All right, so let me go by 2 minutes left. Jeanette, I will use my 2 minutes and not go over. Adam, how about a bullish double vertical on SDS instead of SPX bear call spread? Love it. Adam? Yes, the answer is yes. Very smart question. Simon, what's the plan B on such a short-term credit spread if it goes against you? Simon, sign up. Because in that text alert I kind of showed you on my member page, I have 2 points in a trade, the adjust point and the eject point. There are 2 price points in a trade where if it's going against me, if it hits the adjust point, Simon, I scratch my chin and I go, I wonder what's going on in this, and should I adjust it? Roll it up, roll it out, roll it up and out. If it hits the eject point, oh my God, I'm on fire. There's smoke in the cockpit, and my wingman's screaming eject, get out. So Simon will talk about that. Vince, KG. KG Tech is really not doing that great of the companies. I'd agree with that, KG. Peter. It's called shifting to a knowledge economy, but you already said that this is going to happen elsewhere. I agree, man. Peter, I appreciate your insights, man. I will tell you this, and I'm going to throw it back to Jeanette because I refuse to go over by a minute. You might not like my politics, but if I did not trade what I believed, I'd be broke. I'll leave it at that. There are people who are like, Wiz, I can't stand your politics. I don't think you're right, but you trade the hell out of the market and you make us money. And then I have about 90% of the people at TGO who completely agree with everything I say, and we have a great spirited discussion. So, Jeanette, I'll tell you what, ma'am, it's an honor to be your strategic partner. Thank you for hosting this event. I was honored to attend, and I look forward to working with you down the road in the future, and I'll either throw it back to you or you can take it back. So thanks again for having me, ma'am. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm here, and thank you so much. This was very informative, and it's good to have you here for the first time. Loved your presentation, loved all the references and the politics. I love all of it. I mean, tying it all together to me is, and I'm a news person too. I'm all about a news-driven market. And,
that's exactly right.
I'm a futures girl, so options. I mean, it just affects all of us. It just affects all of us. So anyway, thank him for coming. Thank him for his time. It's late in the evening, so we're thankful. I'm gonna pull it back from you so that you don't accidentally close our room down. And why don't you give them your URL one more time for your offer? Let me make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You bet, Jeanette. It's up there at the top. It's TopGunOptions.com/FT is for full throttle. 30 if you want to do the month, and then options. FT30 options. And it'll be good to go.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's TopGunOptions.com/FT30 options. And that's almost like a nuclear code. I should have made that URL a little shorter. My apologies.
I'm all about get and now and go, but I mean, now that you've explained it, as soon as you explained what it meant, it makes perfect sense. So whatever works for you, man, it's perfect.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Jeanette.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.